Go ahead and fire away. Okay, this Tuesday, December 1st meeting of the Troy Board of Park Commissioners in session. Please call the roll.
Mr. Cappers?
Here.
Mr. Phillips?
Here.
Mrs. Pierce? Here.
Okay, we have the minutes of our November 3rd meeting that have been given to us. Are there any additions, corrections, or deletions to those minutes? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to accept those minutes.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? They are accepted. Reports. Mr. Drake, good morning to you.
Good morning.
Do you have anything to add to your non-report that you've included in your package?
I would just say just a couple things. One, just a quick update on Treasure Island. Things are still moving along. We've been very fortunate with the mild fall so far. The shelter is being bricked right now. I just came out of a meeting with Stan and Patrick. A lot of the pavement is in place. They were able to get quite a bit of paving done yet this year. The discussion has been whether or not to seed or hold off on grass seed at this time. It looks like we're probably going to be best to hold off, wait till spring. There's potential, of course, for flooding, and we don't want it to wash out. But things have been able to move along really nicely with the mild weather. Our department's done a lot with the electricians on the Christmas decorating, and that's now pretty well wrapped up. We'll have maybe a little bit of ongoing maintenance with the lights as we go through the season, but that went really well. Fall cleanup is pretty well wrapped up. We're getting ready to start, hopefully yet this week, start our annual tree removal program, starting with our park trees. We've got probably right close to 30 or so trees throughout our park system that'll come out. And then we'll start at Riverside Cemetery and then the golf course and then move on to street trees from there. So that'll be starting yet most likely this week. That's kind of where we're at this point.
Why don't you give us an update on the budget? Where are we at? City Council's actions on it?
Right now, it's at the point where it goes to council for final approval. The committee meetings were last Monday. So at this point, we'll just wait for final council approval before we hear exactly what's in and not.
Okay. Any questions of Mr. Drake?
Getting back to Treasure Island, what does the interior of the main building look like where the restaurant was? How's that coming along?
You know, I've not been in. That's a little bit separate from the actual park part, so I'm not sure exactly where we are or what the status of that is at this point.
Okay.
Any other questions, Mr. Drake? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Seiler, good morning.
Good morning.
Do you have anything to add to your report?
Just want to highlight that we have a couple Christmas shows coming up, holiday shows this coming weekend on Friday evening and Sunday afternoon. If any of you are interested in those shows, and we're just kind of really heading into our heavy time for ice rentals and ice usage during the next couple months. So,
See, is that Marv Albert and the E Street Band?
no, it's not Marv Albert, sorry. I can see them in the room.
Yeah. All right. Anything else to report?
That's all I have.
Any questions for Mr. Seiler?
No.
Okay. How are we going on the Hobart Arena renovations and thought towards the renovations?
We're just working on reviewing and looking at the bids, alternates, and all those type of things on that. We hope to get started here in the next month or two.
What's the deadline for the bids to be brought in?
The bids are in. We're just assessing them at this point.
Thank you. Okay. Any other questions of Mr. Seiler?
No.
Mr. Green, good morning.
Good morning.
Do you have anything to add to your report?
Nothing to add to the report. We just finished up one of our best Novembers ever, so thanks to the weather, that was nice to see. And overall, the fall's been very good for us compared to the spring we had. So
Good.
hopefully we'll have a good December too.
Good. Any questions for Mr. Green?
No.
I've got no planning committee report. Old business, I don't think there is any. New business, we have 2 members to be renewed on the Golf Advisory Board. Go ahead, Mr. Green.
Bob Knife and Gary Weaver both said they'd be willing to do another term, unless you had somebody else in mind, which we don't. So I said we'd forward that to you.
I know both those gentlemen. I think they're both good. Stan, do you have anything on that?
Well, I'd like to make a motion that we do renew the membership of Gary Weaver and Bob Knife to the Golf Advisory Board.
There's a motion on the floor. Is there a second?
I'll second.
There's a motion, a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye?
Opposed? Will you convey to Mr. Weaver and Mr. Knife our gratefulness for them being on the board? Thank you. Okay. Mr. Titterington, do you have anything you want to address the commission on?
Just to follow up on a couple of questions that were asked. On the Marina building, it is separate from the Treasure Island, two separate contracts. They're moving right along. The interior work continues. They've got most of the painting done. They've got the bathrooms, the plumbing, the electrical. They're still doing some conduit work. Flooring for the fireplace room is in but not installed yet. It is on track to be done and ready by the end of the year. Still actively recruiting for some alternate restaurants, some potential tenants. As far as the budget goes, we did have a lengthy work session Monday night, a week ago yesterday. There were no changes to it. The Finance Committee unanimously recommended that the Council pass it. December 7th is our meeting next Monday. Barring any questions or concerns, hopefully that'll be acted on and we'll be ready to go for 2016. One item that we did actually have from the Planning Commission was Nottingham 9 and 10. The Planning Commission did approve moving forward with that, subject to the conditions that they are requesting or recommending and need approval of the Park Board to accept fees in lieu of payments rather than the dedication of new parkland.
Thank you for reminding me about that. Is Tim prepared to give us a presentation on that today?
Tim is always prepared to give a presentation.
Did you have anything else, Mr. Chairman?
Just to thank Mr. Phillips for his service. Been a joy to work with, and wish you all the best.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Davis?
Thank you. In November, the Planning Commission did make a recommendation for sections 9 and 10 for Nottingham. For those of you who may not be familiar, Nottingham is located just west of Pickwichroy Road, right there off of North Market Street. They are expanding. Section 9 would connect to the end of Loxley Lane, which was Section 8, and then Section 10 would connect all the way to Pickwichroy Road. There are 51 building lots, and they range from 12,000 square feet to 25,000 square feet. Because it is basically filling out the rest of Nottingham, Planning Commission and staff did recommend that we accept fees in lieu of instead of dedicated parkland. And that approval would be requested of you today.
As you might recall, the extension of Archer Park, we have that additional property back there that was a part of the Nottingham's phases 1 and 2, I think it was. So we got a significant amount of park property attached to Archer Park on that. I personally kind of feel that the residents of these sections of Nottingham can avail themselves of that park pretty easily by using the subdivision's sidewalks and streets, so there wouldn't be any necessity to have another satellite park. Jeremy, do you have any opinion on that?
My recommendation would be is what to accept fees in lieu of as well.
Tim, do you have any ideas of the amount of fees in lieu that will be generated?
It would be $50. I'm trying to think here.
Well, if that's
No,
not
actually, I
for
do
you.
not know. It is. It's a percentage of the lots. I was trying to calculate in my head. I can get you those numbers. I don't have those with me. I'm sorry.
Okay. All right. And those would go into the park funds, correct?
I believe that's where they go. Yes.
Okay. Any questions of Mr. Davis? We've been requested to go ahead and approve the recommendation of the Planning Commission or deny the recommendation of the Planning Commission. I'm on the Planning Commission as your representative on the park board there, and I would make a recommendation that we approve the fees in lieu for this addition to Nottingham. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Is there any further discussion? Please call the roll.
Mr. Phillips?
Aye.
Mrs. Pierce?
Yes.
Mr. Cappers?
Yes. Mr. Davis, you have something else you want to address on this?
It would be $25,500 would be the fees in lieu.
The amount of fees in lieu, okay. Would you let the planning commission and the developer know that the park board has blessed their recommendation? Thank you. Okay, Mr. Davis, Mr. Tennington, do either one of you have anything further? Mr. Cagley, I see you back there. Do you want to talk about anything?
Thank you.
Okay. It's with sadness that we part company with Mr. Phillips, who for 11 years has served on this commission as a faithful member and representative to the Gulf Shores Advisory Board as well. And Stan, I want to publicly thank you also for your service, and want it laid upon the records of this august body that we do so. And want you to know that we really appreciate what you've done in the past 11 years. Your advice and counsel has been great, and your attention to detail has also been very, very appropriate and welcome. So thank you once again. I appreciate
Well,
it.
thank you. It's been my pleasure to serve on this board. Thank you.
I second that, too.
Okay, anything else to come before the commission? Okay, we need to go into executive session for the discussion of compensation for public employees. We need a motion to that effect.
So moved.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor of going into executive session, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, we are adjourned to executive